Football's just started, and, I told you before that I do some refereeing on the side just for fun because I love it. And, there's those games that you have to be very careful of. You have to know when to speak. You have to know. And so Jaylen Brown's dad, stabbed a guy in the parking lot over something going on with a youth football game.
So, that's a youth football game. That's a whole nother level below, everything. But
yeah.
You did know that Kansas State's football player, the brother and his dad got in a fight in the parking lot also?
Yeah, on Saturday night.
Yeah, on Saturday night after the game
in Ireland. Yeah. Well, they both were drinking, and there was aggravation going on. So anyway,
and they lost to Iowa State. So
pretty bad. Yeah, when that's the deal. When you lose, things like that happen. It's crazy. People get fired when you lose, but when you win, things like that usually don't happen, and they don't talk about it because nobody gets mad, I guess. I don't know. But I don't want to leave us out on the Tuesday being a terrible. I don't know if you saw this story. This is the great story. Okay. So allegedly, let me read it to you real quick because I think it's a great story. It's about an umpire, and it's just one of those things. So it was a football game a baseball game. And what happened is one of the umpires started to have a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
And so the other umpire didn't know that he was having the heart attack. And so he looked over and saw him and was like, oh, no, what should we do? And so the other umpire went over, and when he went over, he started administering CPR to his other umpire, and he just started doing it. It was a Sylacauga head coach, Chris Smelly, said that he started immediately because it was during the football game, and he had saw the other referee go down and did that. So Lou Murphy gave his POV in an interview. I was the back judge. Joey was the umpire. We ran a play. He got up there to spot the ball and set it down. I thought he tripped. When he hit the ground, he really hit it hard. I just ran up to him. He had no reaction. He was turning white. I just wanted to make sure to try to get a pulse. Of course, we are all trained for CPR, so I started as soon and as quickly as I could. Lou Murphy is his name. He is a true hero because, sometimes during those times, if you are there and you're a first responder or you're not, and you can just go to try to help somebody, because he specifically, they said, had he not immediately responded and reacted, there's a chance that he would have possibly lost his life. But now he's stable, he's good, but he had a heart attack right out there. Just the other day, not too long ago in the summer, there was a umpire that had a heart attack on the field, and he passed away, unfortunately, on the way to the hospital. But this guy, I want to say his name one more time, Lou Murphy, because I don't want it to be a sad story. I mean, we started out with Taylor Swift. We had the bad two stories, and now we're ending it with the good way.
So Lou was a bad Murphy.
So Lou Murphy, you're our hero for the day, and we are so thankful that you were trained to do that, and not only that you're trained to do that, but that you did it without any, hesitation, and that's huge for saving his part's life. So there we go. But anyway, we're going to come back, and when we come back from the break, we're going to be talking to Taylor Devers and the Chop Chat. We got some serious business. It's Florida State Alabama week. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Taking your hot takes, rants, and takedowns. Let's hear it on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
Nuno, have you ridden a horse? Nuno's the most interesting man on our show. I need to know this.
I have not, and I will never do that. Because I'm afraid that that's going to be a long fall for me.
Should we do an unsportsmanlike cowboy-cowgirl outing?
If the Cowboys get this deal signed with Michael Parsons before the start of the season, we'll plan on having a cowboy outing.
Jerry, do you hear what's at stake here?
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 90 with a light breeze out of the northwest around 7 miles per hour. Tonight, a wind around 9 miles per hour coming out of the north and mostly clear skies with lows around 73. Tomorrow, sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 89. Moving into Thursday, the same with a high of 89 and sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Keep the adventure going this fall in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Stop by Bill Bird Kia and test drive a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You'll find the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Save cool cash this week on the purchase of a new Kia SUV. Now offering 0% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. The road is yours in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $20.83 per 1,000 financed in 48 months. Qualities limited, cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/2/25.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the new Sports Blitz. Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290. The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're live here at the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're pumped. We're excited. Don't forget to call the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. You can call, you can text, you can do whatever you like. Don't forget to like, to share, and to comment on our Facebook page. You can also subscribe to that. So if anytime we got stuff going on, you'll get that little ding, ding, ding in your box, and you'll know exactly what's going on here at ESPN Northwest Florida. We're pumped up. We're ready. This is Bama week. This is college football week.
It's not Bama week.
It's Bama week.
No,
this is my show. It's Bama week. Let's go. And we always, as Tuesday, have Taylor Devers on the line from Chop Chat. Taylor, it's finally here, my friend. We are ready. The Crimson is coming to town very soon. How are you doing today, buddy?
Good. How about yourself? How y'all guys doing?
Oh, we're pumped up. Jeff's ready to watch Alabama roll. I'm ready to watch Alabama roll, and you're ready to be there to watch us roll as well.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I think the ACC might have to take its control this week.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know about that. What was you going to say, Jeff?
Well, I mean, I'm just stunned that you're saying it's Alabama week, and you know, just because I got on a bus and went to Tallahassee doesn't mean it's Alabama week.
Well, I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah, no. It's at least say it's like the Alabama-Florida State game, and you should Taylor, you should have seen his face. I guess it was last Thursday. I said that Alabama-Florida State was the fourth biggest game of the weekend, and you should have seen his face like he just lost a kid or something like that. You know what I mean? He was just so crushed, and I was like, well, you know, Notre Dame, Miami, that's a huge game. LSU, Clemson, and then of course Texas, Ohio State. Those are the top three games.
Well, listen, let me say this before y'all go into trying to pull me down from where I'm at. The Red 7T's phone line, we got a text. Somebody said, tell Paul to check his Facebook. Bama won the state of Florida 0 because my hometown team, where I went to high school, Mary G. Montgomery High School in Alabama, played Pace High School, and we beat them. So Bama's up 1-0 already, Taylor. So there you go. We're already up. We're winning. We're starting early. We're excited.
I think we'll have to fix that one, though.
You know, most people can't even pick Pace on a map. I mean, come on. We know it's near Pensacola, and that's it.
It is, but Pace, people know where Pace is.
No,
a Pace Patriots, come on.
I think they got one exit off the interstate.
Man, Taylor, so listen, I've seen it, and I can't wait. I'm aggravated. Why in the world hasn't somebody told Gus to take the stupid hat off? He's not Bobby Bowden, and he's definitely not Nick Saban. I don't understand it. It's not hot outside. He doesn't need to. Wear sunblock, Gus. Do I need to send him a little bottle of sunblock from over here at Surf and Style?
One of my guys, Tommy Castellanos, said it best. Nick Saban cannot save Alabama in this moment. He is an Alabama killer at this point. Has won 3 times against Alabama. Is going to win 4 on Saturday in this stormy, what looks like a gloomy, kind of dreary out game that Florida State has to be able to take control of. Gus has got his game hat on, and he's ready to go.
Oh, man, if that's a game hat, then, man.
So what's the breaking point? Okay, let's talk turnovers. Because, I mean, obviously, when you have, like, maybe a little slippery ball, some little bit of rain involved, If Florida State only turns over the ball once and Bama turns it over 3 times, that's a 2 differential, right? Mm-hmm. You think Florida State can win?
Yes. Now, granted, this is very hard to say because Florida State only had 4 turnovers last year in interceptions for takeaways. They didn't turn the ball over very much. Offenses really had their way. It was very predictable. But if Florida State's able to generate 3, I like our chances.
So we go into the Facebook page. One of our followers says that he's been following Florida State's camp, and he says by the way their depth chart looks, it's worse than last year's 2-10 monstrosity. He says he's going 45-6 Bama. Ooh. So that's just one of our listeners there. And he did tell me to ease up on the hat remarks because the sunscreen does sweat off, and I'm sure Gus is sweating down there in that Florida heat. But I will say this, with the weather like that, it's always been, it's going to be number one, obviously, to take care of the ball, but it's also going to be who can really block the best because you're not going to be throwing the ball as much. Obviously, you'll throw the ball, but not as much. And, that's where, the running style or the trenches is going to be won. So let's look at that a little bit. Tell us a little bit more. Tell us whether or not some of your guys that I've seen a little bit, it's been nicked up a little bit. Give us a little bit of y'all's injury report going forward.
Yeah, so first off is wide receiver Wayne McCoy. He was a talented freshman last year that played a little bit more at punt returner, spot receiver. Was kind of Florida State's guys they wanted to develop last year. Unfortunately, he just didn't really stay that much consistent. This year you thought he was going to take that next year 2 jump. Unfortunately, he's got a lower leg injury. He's going to be out for the Alabama game. And then you turn over to the defensive side of the ball. You have defensive tackle Kevin Wynn. He was a borderline 5-star prospect out of the 25 class. Very talented true freshman. Was going to back up our superstar defensive tackle Darrell Jackson. Unfortunately, he's hurt as well. He's also got a lower leg injury also. He might actually miss a couple more weeks. Norvell was talking about that injury may linger a little bit longer. It's kind of scary because the depth there at defensive tackle has not been great. Kevin Wynn has been a guy that he's discussed as kind of that backup role, but now you got a guy like Daniel Lyons and also KJ Sampson who have not really been talked that much about the defensive line and just the defense coordinator in general. So it's kind of scary, but overall I think those are the 2 main injuries you're going to be looking for. Nothing major, but those are 2 depth pieces that you might need going in the future for at least the Alabama game and probably the season ahead.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You got to have depth. And in these type of games, you're going to get nicked up. You're going to, when you're playing, because Alabama this year's, their offensive line might be, they're usually in the top 5, top 8 as far as like size goes. But this year I'm thinking 1 or 2 in the whole, college football because they're huge and they're really big.
Well, I don't want to say. It used to be Nebraska corn-fed guys.
Right.
They used to always be in the top 3 as far as size went. The Big Ten has some big lines, let's be honest. I know Bama has come a long way over the years, but to put them in the top 3, really, in size?
Yeah. If you look at it, yeah. Once we go to the break, we'll look at it just to show you.
Yeah.
But that's where it's going to be huge. Now, we like to talk about him. I want to know what's going on with the Squirrel. What's Squirrel doing nowadays?
Well, he has kind of went through and aggravated a little more injury. As I stated in the last show, he's one of those guys that is very talented at 800 yards in 2023, but unfortunately dealt with some injuries in 24. There's a reason why Tennessee had probably let him go to the portal, because while he is very talented, he could be a liability. I'm not saying that Squirrel's not going to stay healthy throughout the season, but it seems more and more likely that you're probably going to get 6 healthy games out of Squirrel, and then the other 6 you're kind of playing by ear to kind of see if he can kind of figure it out. But that doesn't bode well for an offense that had 15 points per game last year and is trying to find wide receiver help.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. Another one of our listeners here on Facebook said Earl Little and Darrell Jackson are the only 2 good players on the defense, and Jackson has the effort of a teenage server at Logan's Roadhouse. Just so you know, I believe that's, one of those things. Little is definitely, I know we've talked about him. He's going to be playing against his former Alabama team. So has he come out and said anything to give, any bulletin board material for Alabama, or is he just kind of trying to keep his boys up and keep them up and pumped up against Alabama?
Oh, yeah. Earl has been a very confident guy. He's talked about physicality all offseason. I know that Alabama fans are talking about him being like that slot corner, doesn't really play very physical to the ball, didn't really have many opportunities at Alabama, but he navigated over to the safety position, and now he's over at Rover, and it's a big piece for Tony White's defense to be able to kind of have that responsibility. He can be in the box, be at a slot corner, be on the outside. But just to kind of say that the Jackson and Little are the only 2 defenders on this team that are really, really good, I would like to turn your attention to cornerback transfer Jerry Wilson from Houston last year. He had 4 interceptions. He's a very, very aggressive man-to-man corner. He's going to be locked up on Ryan Williams and a little bit on Jeremy Bernard as well. But those 2, as well as Jerry Wilson, that's a special trio that I think you're going to really be excited about if you're a Florida State fan.
Have you been hearing any noise about that, Ryan Williams? Is that going in, is Tony White's defense, are they going to try to limit his touches? Are they going to double him? Are they going to, stuff him at the line? Or, have you heard anything about what their game plan is going forward on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Ryan Williams, as much as he's talked about, my gosh, I'm glad I don't have to hear he's 17 years old anymore. Now we can navigate over the 18 years old part. But at this point, though, Ryan Williams, he had a great start to the season with Georgia. You saw the spin move and the touchdown outracing the defense. He had some incredible early games. But when you look at the last 6 games that he had this year, he only had 278 yards and 2 touchdowns to end the year. That's kind of concerning. You saw a freshman wall hit. Now, will the year 2 slump kind of happen? We'll kind of see. But I do expect Jerry Wilson to be that primary corner on him. And I do think maybe even a Earl Little or an Edwin Joseph, another one safety kind of coming over the top on him, to have a Jeremy Bernard or even an Isaiah Horton, who has not really had success against Florida State in his matchups with Miami. So I think that's going to be kind of the matchup they lean to, and have those other 2 receivers kind of try to beat them.
Stats can fool you a lot, and I'm gonna bump you a little bit on what you said about our wide receiver, Mr. 18-year-old sophomore Ryan Williams. I'm just going to tell you, though, that Jalen Milroe struggled, and that's why the numbers for Ryan Williams dropped off. There were several games that Ryan Williams was open, and Jalen Milroe missed him. And if you remember, after the LSU game, that was the only play that we could run. The little delayed run where he went behind the tight end or went behind the running back and tried to score. That was the only play our offense could play with, and so it worked so well against LSU. It just destroyed Brian Kelly and LSU, but they just kept running the same play. So don't be surprised with a different person at the helm that can actually throw the ball. At least I hope so. But, those stats, yes, they're stats, but if you watch the game, and I know you did, the thing is that Milroe missed him a lot. Milroe missed a lot of people at the end of the year, and actually we saw the other day for the Seattle Seahawks, he missed a few people there too.
I want to kind of address this with both of y'all and kind of see your thought process there. I know why Ryan Williams is a deep threat. I know he likes to have the go balls a lot, and they try to set the defense up with their running game. But now that you have Jan Miller out for a couple of weeks, he's probably not going to be back to the Georgia game, as Kalen DeBoer had said before. But now you're having to have a Ty Simpson out there, his first road start, his first start in general, and now he's not going to have those weapons that you see in the running game. Now you're having to turn around, and you have these wide receivers that are so talented, but it may be a rainy condition game. You know, you may not be able to throw it deep as often as you would like. Do you think those tunnel screens and those kind of short, quick slant routes, drag routes, those kind of passes are going to be more successful against Florida State and maybe set up something a little bit later down the field?
No, I don't. And the reason why is because I believe that they're going to impose their will on them, and they're going to run it right down their throat. And that's the key. If Florida State does not have the depth at defensive line, and Alabama does have to dredge a win out with the weather going, I don't believe they're going to try to do anything spectacular. I don't think they're going to try to do anything. Now, they might throw a pass in there here or there just because they're putting everybody in the box to try to slow down the run game. Because don't forget, Jam Miller, yes, he was the guy. I'm not trying to act like, this is the same backfield that we had with Trent Richardson and Mark Ingram and TJ Yelding and Derrick Henry and all those guys. But we do have some big guys that are going to be able to push some dirt, and that's going to be the big key. So I don't believe that's going to be a factor. I think realistically we're looking at if the rain comes in like it's saying it's going to, that's going to benefit Alabama more than it will Florida State. Number one, the fans will be a lot less loud because they're going to wear their ponchos, but they don't want to scream and get wet. So some of them are going to go back in and they stay under the awnings or whatever. And I don't think it'll be as loud. It'll kind of dampen the mode. We're not playing in LSU, Jeff. So I don't know. What are you looking at me for?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm giving too much credit to Florida State fans. I mean, I know when it rains in Tiger Stadium and we are not allowed with umbrellas, you have to wear a raincoat or poncho.
Yeah.
Right? We don't leave. I mean, we're there. Like, the rain does not stop the noise in Tiger Stadium. I don't know how Doak Campbell is because I've never stepped inside.
What do you think about that, Taylor, knowing that you're a season ticket holder there? Do you think the rain will knock some of those kids out from getting out there and screaming if it's storming, raining really hard?
Obviously, the college students, they're going to do their own thing, and Florida State has added some club seating to the home side. So obviously some of those guys are probably going to go underneath the awning, like you said. But I still think Doak is going to be really, really loud. I know they're hitting at about 70,000 right now. Preferably, I would like it at 80, but I understand the ADA compliance and how that all works and everything. They definitely need renovations. It looks great on the inside, but what is it going to be on the outside? And I think that's what Florida State fans have always done. They've been very passionate about their team. It's just, unfortunately, the last couple of years have been a roller coaster ride. They've been up, they've been down. But now that you got a top 10 opponent coming into Doak Campbell Stadium, why not be loud? I mean, you're literally probably not going to have a great home game until you get back to Miami, which is in 5 weeks. I mean, that's a huge amount of time that you're going to have to kind of cheer on the East Texas A&M, the Kent State, and then you turn around and have that Pittsburgh game and that Miami game. It's going to be big for that program to be able to have that early home field advantage there and get Alabama kind of on their toes.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with it, though. Those college students, they got their phones out. They don't want to get wet. I could see totally it being not as loud as it could be if it was just a straight-up sunny game, obviously. So for me, that's something that is going to be a non-factor. I mean, when you look at Ty Simpson, yes, it's his first year coming in to play the starter's role, and, he's taking the leadership role. They've nominated him the captain over the week. And the thing is that if you go into – you're going to go into hostile environments, and not to say that Doak Campbell hasn't been loud in the past. I mean, I've watched the LSU games, I've watched the Clemson games, and I've watched the Miami games and the Florida games, and they've been loud, don't get me wrong. But when you look at it, they've taken away the seating that was, for the outer people and used the box seats now inside. And with it raining, I'm just going to be curious to see. I'm leaning more towards it's going to benefit Bama just because of that, and it's going to be one of those big old, let's just run it down their throat and see what happens.
Yeah, and that kind of messes with the psyche of just everything too, because I don't know if you saw, but LT Overton, the defensive end for Alabama, talented defensive end, but he's only had 2 sacks in his career. 33 years at Texas A&M and then last year at Alabama. hasn't really done much. But he talked about how he didn't want Tommy Castellanos to have the ball in his hands much. He wants to fear the Alabama defense. But realistically, I know that defense is a top 10 unit, but can they be able to be successful in the rain when Florida State's going to have to be able to run the ball? Gus wants to run the ball. You know, there's no secret. And you saw last year when they played Oklahoma, when they had Jackson Arnold out there. Jackson Arnold was not a threat to pass the ball. He had about 100 passing yards in that game. So can Alabama take it to basically having those run-heavy offenses? You know they're going to run. You know you're going to have to stack the box. Can you be aggressive? Can you wrap up in a rainy weather? Then the crowd gets involved when you have an inexperienced quarterback. It's just going to be very exciting to kind of figure out if Florida State has what it takes to handle this type of adversity. That's what Mike Norvell talks about all the time, battling that adversity. Can they do it? I definitely think they could.
Yeah, well, it looks like some people on Facebook are saying the Bama fans will be loud as well there. Do you suspect there's going to be a lot of Bama fans there? Because Tallahassee's not too far, and that's a pretty good, opening game to go to. And the seats, they were expensive, but not too bad.
Yeah, I'm actually going with my father as well as a friend of mine. He's actually an Alabama fan and actually goes to Alabama. He actually has a couple of friends going to the game as well. So it's just a lot of Alabama fans that will be there. They travel well. Don't get me wrong.
Of course,
it's not a program that's not going to travel. I mean, obviously you're going to have some stuff there, but overall, though, Florida State's got to be ready. They got to have a lot of Garnet in the stands. You've got to be able to scream. And, man, if you could convert some of your voices through the TV at your homes, that would be great also. But just in all seriousness, though, I think Florida State's going to be loud. They're going to be proud in this moment. Now, you can't let this game get out of hand. You got to continue to fight. You got to continue to be in the game. You can't have multiple 3-and-outs. There's got to be some things done in this game to keep the crowd in it.
Well, one of the Facebook followers said that they were just questioning whether or not Alabama still has a football team. And I will tell you this, yes, Alabama still has a football team, and they will put it on display Saturday against the Florida State Seminoles. We've got Taylor Devers from Chop Chat on the line. When we come back, we're going to be discussing whether or not the field is going to be a problem. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
Call in now.
This is Touchstone Service.
The Red 70s studio line is open.
Demonstrate how to make a call with your dial telephone.
850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Coach James Hale Show.
Talking about it on crack.
Now, do you live on the beach? You live in town?
I live in Lynn Haven.
What? Have you been to a game in Gainesville before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, you know how fun it is. That's going to be a good trip for you. Hey, we certainly appreciate you listening. Thank you for calling. Glad you won.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your NFL and college football headquarters is Dak Cajun Place. With 27 TVs, you won't miss a play or a game. Score 50-cent wings during live games every Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. 50-cent wings and $5 pitchers during live games only at Dak Cajun Place. LSU and Saints fans, wear your team colors and get free Jell-O shots when LSU or the Saints score. Plus brunch on Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 2 with $3 mimosas. Game like a local at Dak Cajun Place.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. This is the Sports Blitz, where we don't have guests. We have punching bags. The Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're so glad that you've decided to listen with us, whether you're listening on the traditional radio, we appreciate you, or if you listen on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're on the ESPN app, you can download that app. It's free on all of your phones. You can do that as well. So just do that. Like, share, comment. We'll get you on here. Anything you comment, we'll put it on there as long as it's child approved. So we don't do too much of we do smack talk, but we try to keep it clean because there's a lot of kids listening. So anyway, we are talking to Taylor Devers with the Chop Chat. He's down there in Tallahassee. Now, Taylor, I saw it today, and it might have been late last night or early this morning. I can't really remember. But it looks like Florida State, this is significant, I believe, that Florida State is going to be. Now, let me rewind a little bit. I saw where they took all of the dirt and not all of the dirt, they took all of the grass out, and they put brand new grass in the stadium this week, and they put the lines in. Have you gotten a chance to see that?
Oh, man, it is garnet end zones. For the first time, and I can't express this enough, my excitement for this. Last year, Florida State had grass end zones. They didn't even have the garnet field end zones. You know how much that broke my heart to see that? I mean, it was a lifeless stadium. I get it, it's just end zones. I understand that. But I honestly do think that 2-10 record last year was strictly because of those end zones.
Well, and that's the thing. You know, garnet is pretty close to crimson. So what I'm thinking is that by the time Alabama's done, the end zone, because they're going to be in there so many times, that the end zone's going to be crimson when you leave.
See, I was thinking the exact opposite. You know, I think they're going to probably have a lot of crimson, you know, on their jerseys with that. You know, they're going to have a lot of battered and bruised and stuff like that. Alabama might have a lot of, safeties that get on offense and everything. So, Florida State might score a lot of points that way, too. So you never know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'll tell you this. When you look at Florida State, the thing that really stands out to me is that, obviously, with every team, a quarterback's got to play good. Let me know who you have behind Tommy Costellos.
Yeah, so behind Tommy, it's going to be either Kevin Sperry, who's a true freshman, 4-star prospect that Gus really loved. I mean, he was really in favor of. Brock Glenn come back for another season. He was a redshirt freshman last year, played a little bit of time last year. It wasn't really ideal circumstances. Now he's a redshirt sophomore. He's in his third year of the offense, and he was recruited by Florida State. He's in the 23 class. And I know everybody talks about how Florida State doesn't recruit well at certain positions. They want to say all we get is transfers. Well, those are 2 recruits that Florida State did get. And I definitely think that it's not ideal if Sperry comes in there. If something happens to Castellanos, let's knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But it would probably be Brock Glenn in that situation. But they do desperately love Kevin Sperry and what he offers and what he brings to the table because he is a runner. He absolutely loves to run the football. He throws it with accuracy. He's primarily what Gus wants in his offense.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When you look at what you start with, it always does come up whether or not, especially with, let's just talk about it. Let's talk about this deal that's called size. And Tommy is lacking in that department. And, with the smack talk that he's talked about before, and that's really where Florida State, no team wants to have their backup come in. I mean, nobody does. But that could be a big-time problem because I don't believe I heard anything about you saying any kind of experience with those guys.
No, and I mean, Brock Glenn had some experience. Some fans were actually surprised he came back to Florida State for another season. I personally like Brock Glenn. I talk to him a lot of the time. He is a great guy. He's a great ambassador for what Florida State brings to the table. He just didn't really perform that well. But, my gosh, when you have Malik Benson and Jalen Brown back there at wide receiver, you have no rushing game, your offensive line doesn't really do that well, who can perform at a high level?
Yeah, no, that's true. And let me ask you this. When you're looking at your running backs, when you know that you've got guys that have got some experience, that know what they're doing as far as running the ball, do you guys have any – I haven't looked at their size. Do you have any bruiser backs back there in the backfield?
Well, you want to go ahead and start with your old stomping ground buddy?
Come on. If you tell me Roydell Williams is a bruiser back, I'm going to have to check your college football certificate because I don't know if you know what you're talking about.
I mean, he's 5'10", 223 pounds. I think that classifies as a bruiser. Now, I'm not saying he's the fastest guy. Don't let me fool you in saying Roydell is going to be a 4.3 type of 40-yard dash guy, because he's definitely not. But I do think him and even Gavin Sawchuk, who is about 5'11", probably like 215 now at this point, he's definitely an Oklahoma transfer that they desperately love. But the guy I'm looking for is Usman Kroma. I've talked about him for weeks now. True freshman. I hate to put this hype train on a true freshman, but he is the real deal. I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to be this bona fide Dalvin Cook week one, but I do think he can get that Cam Akers type of impact like 2017 when they played off against Alabama. He had about 45 yards in that game. I think he can bring that type of impact to week one to Florida State.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it, and, the thing is, Richard Young, you got him for Alabama. I know you said Roydell Williams, but there's been times where for me, he just wasn't the guy. But the one guy that I do want to talk about, I know we talked about him last week, Daniel Hill, 6'1", 244 pounds. It could be his coming out party due to Jam Miller being down, but when you have some big old linemen like we've got this year, and then you've got somebody that big, that could be trouble for that defensive line like we talked about. The big-time deal with Florida State this year is going to be their depth. And now, are they trying to hide that fact, or are they pretty knowledgeable as far as coming out with the fans and letting people know that, hey, we got guys that are starters, they're good, but our depth is low?
Yeah, so they love the 3-3-5 aggressive defense that they run. Darrell Jackson at the middle of the defense, the defensive tackle. He's 6'5", 337 pounds. He's a huge guy that Tony White absolutely loves and adores. He says he's one of the best defensive linemen in the country. And I do believe with this skill set that he has, he is one of the better defensive linemen. He's just got to be able to commit himself to being able to be a serviceable defensive lineman in this league and pretty much in college football. He's a force to be reckoned with. I know one of the ESPN writers that wrote their top 100 freaks list, he's always on it. I mean, he is a guy that is an absolute freak at his size. But the problem is, Nick Saban gave him the curse last year. He said that Florida State had their best defensive line in the country.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now?
I'm going to call Uncle Nick and tell him to say that again right before the game so we can get that going. Now, one of our fans here wrote, Bama will have 3 running backs over 65 yards each.
Oh, no.
He said, put me back there, and I'm averaging 4 yards a carry on this Norvell defense attack.
Who is this? So I can call him out.
Yeah. Well, his name is Chris. Chris.
Yeah, Chris Anonymous.
Yeah, Anonymous Chris. Yeah, so, that's what I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama, with the conditions of the field, because when you put new turf in, it's not like the full-grown turf that's been there, right? The full-grown, the turf that's been there. And the thing is that with them putting that in there, it could be sloppy, especially if we're looking at, because I think it was 60% chance of rain going into the game this weekend. Is that what it is, Taylor?
Yeah, it's about 60%. And the biggest thing here, though, is when they are doing the turf and the installation there, the biggest factor was that it was going to be able to stand tall. It was going to maintain itself. It's not turf. It's more sod. It's going to be natural grass. But the thing that Florida State really loved about it was those garnet end zones to be able to stabilize that paint, to not let it damage the entire field, to actually stabilize that and be able to have that for multiple weeks instead of having to replace the grass every single year. So that does give me a little bit more encouragement with that.
Yeah, I mean, but when it starts raining, all that stuff that they tell you is kind of goes out the door. I mean, really, when you talk about it. But that's what's looking good for us, because I'm thinking that Alabama's rush attack is probably going to be, just keep handing the ball to a fresh guy. Obviously, we're going to miss Jam Miller. I wish he was there. And then that line, I'm just going to tell him to block, 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 block. And what do you think, Jeff? What are you thinking about all this?
I'm getting a vision. Okay.
All right.
They're laying sod too late, and then it gets all wet. And then what happens is not only does the sod get kicked up when the cleats are going into it and people running all over it all day long, all night long.
When Alabama's running all over it, just say that.
No, everybody's going to be, I mean, you've got 22 guys out there just running all over it constantly for 3 hours, 3 hour plus. I don't like this. I think it's going to be a sloppy field, and I don't like that. I think they should have laid the sod, further ahead of time to get it trenched.
Agree. Yeah. People in Twitter and just some other places as well, Florida State fans were raving about this and saying, we saw the sod experts come up, because obviously people were like, oh, well, we only have a week before the game. How are they going to do this? And through the wizardry and the other stuff in the believers to the higher power, we have sod on the field now.
Oh, man. Well, I think I'm with Jeff on this one. I think it's just going to be a big mess out there. So hopefully we won't get too much rain, but it looks like it's going to be pretty bad. But when we come back, we are going to discuss a little bit about the schedule of the Florida State Seminoles. Going to be talking about a little bit of Miami Hurricane, too. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get in the game. Call or text us now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida broadcasts the biggest and best games of the week. We're your headquarters for premier matchups, huge rivalries, and fan favorites. The games of the week: Notre Dame versus Miami, Baylor at Auburn, and LSU at Clemson. The Gulf Coast headquarters for college football is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 90 with a light breeze out of the northwest around 7 miles per hour. Tonight, a wind around 9 miles per hour coming out of the north and mostly clear skies with lows around 73. Tomorrow, sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 89. Moving into Thursday, the same with a high of 89 and sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Taco Bell is now on DoorDash in Port St. Joe. That's right, you can enjoy craveable tacos, burritos, and more delivered right to your door. Craving a late night snack? Taco Bell in Port St. Joe has you covered. Open until 1, 7 days a week. Plus, start your day off with their delicious breakfast menu, available until 10 a.m. Taco Bell, where the craveable comes true. Taco Bell, now on DoorDash in Port St. Joe.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. They're number one in the men's room.
I hope this place comes with toilet paper.
The Sports Blitz.
Oh, geez, this is going to be a photo finish.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
That's right. It's 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. We're so glad that you made it through the work day. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson. Man, don't forget to call in, to text in the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. We're having a blast here. You're excited. You just got off work, wherever you're going, to a restaurant, going home to eat mama's cooking. No matter what you're doing, we're so glad that you joined us, whether you're on the Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on the ESPN Northwest Florida app, or if you're doing the old traditional radio. We're thankful that you're doing that now.
You said Twitch?
Twitch. Yeah, you can listen to Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch and Snitch and everything else. All right, just got some breaking news for the story for the station. Text to win a pair of tickets to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want to see Travis Hunter? You want to see Trevor Sunshine Lawrence? Well, now's your chance. We have tickets for every single Jacksonville Jaguar home game this season here at ESPN Northwest Florida. You can grab a pair of tickets for the Jaguars versus the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, September the 7th. Now, Alabama fans, don't forget Bryce Young is the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Just wanted to throw that in there. Also,
nobody cares about that.
Oh, yes, they do. They do. Now, how you can win. This is how you do it. So this is very important. So you can text the keyword Jacksonville to the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290 for a chance to win. Now, you can enter once, and the winner will be selected and notified on this show Tuesday, September the 2nd. So we're going to announce the winner Tuesday, September the 2nd, right here on the Sports Blitz. We're going to do it around the 5 o'clock hour, and it's going to be an exciting time. Now, what does that mean that you can text the keyword Jacksonville to the Red 70s phone line? I'm glad you asked. You can text with your phone, your wife's phone, your kid's phone, and your grandmama's phone, and your granddaddy's phone, and everybody in your family's phone. If they text, we're going to give away 2 tickets every week, every home game, starting September the 7th.
Not every
week, because they're not going to be home. All the home games.
I think it's 8 home games, because I think they play once in London. Yeah, they do play once in London.
Yeah.
So there's 8 home games.
But we're not sending them to London.
No, we're not sending them to London. That's not a home game.
Yeah, it's not a home game.
They should send them to, be the London Jaguars next year.
No, they shouldn't. They should not. Yeah, please don't go that route for sure. Taylor.
Oh, I do have a question for you, too.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
So you did mention that Bryce Young is on the Panthers as their starting quarterback. Well, we just got news yesterday that former FSU kicker Ryan Fitzgerald is now going to be their starting kicker on this year's team.
Oh, man.
So that's just an interesting tidbit just to throw in there, too, just in case Florida State
they're probably going to use the kicker a lot.
Oh, that's not very good.
Carolina, man.
They're actually going to be good this year, and we'll see that
Panthers
first game.
Good? Yeah, they're going to finish third.
They got the best defense
third in the division
conference.
because the Saints are pathetic.
They're going to have the best defense in the conference. Mark it down.
Are you crazy?
Carolina Panthers are going to have the best defense in the conference this year going forward.
No.
Now, Taylor, we have Taylor here from Chop Chat. We're talking a lot of things about Florida State and the Alabama game. We're excited about it. Everybody's excited about it. If you missed it, we've already talked about the hideous-looking hat that Gus Malzahn is wearing. We, as Alabama fans, know that he's just trying to mimic Coach Saban and mimic Bobby Bowden. Yeah, we know.
So wait a minute, no, but who came first? Oh no, it was Bowden.
Yeah,
so Saban was the one trying to, rehash the ghost of Bowden's, past.
Bowden was alive whenever Saban started wearing the hat. He wasn't dead, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Bowden's originator, Bowden's the originator.
So Coach Bowden, we'll look it up. Coach Bowden's the first coach to ever wear the straw hat.
The straw hat? I'm sure there was some high school coach or something like that before him. But,
yeah.
I mean, the houndstooth for Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, well, for Bear Bryant. Nobody tries
the
to pull it
fedora.
off.
Yeah.
You know who Wimp Sanderson is?
I do.
Oh, yeah, that coat. My God.
He used to wear that.
But it was like a symbol, you know?
Yeah.
Les Miles, he ate grass.
Yeah, that was his deal. Yeah. And I'm sure there was one time in your life that you were like, man, that's my coach.
That's my boy. and then every time Coach O would say something, everybody making fun of his accent, we were like, we still love him.
Yeah.
We still love him.
So on Coach O, sorry, Taylor, if we're talking too much SEC here, but was there a time where you were just like, you knew exactly what he was saying?
Oh, absolutely. And other people like, is he? You know, it's like this. Okay, so my brother obviously is, you know, he's more Cajun than me because he grew up down the bayou as a child, you know. Anyway, he brings his wife, who's from the Cape Cod area of Massachusetts, down the bayou, and she was like, are they speaking English? He's like, yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. You go into some of the thick wood areas, you know, some of the places where you're from.
And before you get with somebody who's probably typing something in the Facebook, I'm going to talk quick to Taylor for a second. I marked down the 9 most important games of the weekend. And there are 7 ACC teams in these 9 games, and they're not even playing each other. And 4 of them are versus SEC opponents. We're talking about Clemson versus LSU, Florida State versus Bama, Virginia Tech versus South Carolina, and then the 4th one is Syracuse not at Tennessee, but they're playing in Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, do we have 7? So that's just 4, right? And we have 3 other big games because Miami's playing Notre Dame. And then who else do we have? We got UNC versus TCU. That's a big one. And then
Hold on. Did you just say UNC and TCU's a big one?
That's
the only reason why it's big is because it's Bill Belichick's first college game.
I have his seventh most biggest game of the weekend. You can't name me another one above these top 6 games that's a bigger game than TCU and UNC.
I would say Georgia Tech, Colorado.
So
that's my 9th. Georgia Tech, Colorado is my 9th
that's
one.
That's way better than UNC and TCU. The only reason why Colorado's got any talk is that they have Deion Sanders as coach. And you can't tell me Deion is more important than Belichick because you'd be crazy for saying that. Everybody else will say you're crazy too. He's not more important than Belichick, but he's about the same level because he's got all of the people talking about his sons in the NFL, and they're both non-drafted and a 5th-round draft pick, and they're only talking about him because it's Deion's son. Bill Belichick's son, they don't know anything about him except for he's got a mullet. That's it. And he spits because he's got a dip in his mouth.
Well, you know what? I can't name the Georgia Tech coach. Can you? I can name Sonny Dykes as TCU's coach because he's been to the playoffs.
He's
been in a national championship.
Yeah, and got destroyed.
TCU is UNC. TCU have his 7th biggest game of the week.
It is not bigger than Tennessee and Syracuse. There's no possible way.
Yeah, I have that 8th.
Yeah, there's no way.
Right behind it.
But just because you got it here and you got it there doesn't mean it's it doesn't mean it's the truth. There's no way the UNC TCU
but the difference is that you have a close game because TCU is a 3-point favorite. Tennessee's a 13.5-point favorite.
Right. There's going to be more people wondering whether or not Joey. Can you name the quarterback?
No, Tennessee's going to rock Syracuse.
All right, Mr. UNC. Can you name who the name of the quarterback is for the UNC Tar Heels coming into this season? Because I can.
I'm trying to remember who it is. And once you say it, I'll know.
I'll give you a hint. It's actually from the state that he cheers for his former team.
Yeah.
Used to be.
Where was he coming from? He's a transfer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where was he? It wasn't Notre Dame.
No.
He is the southern part of the state as well.
Oh,
so
South Alabama?
Come from South Alabama.
Mobile. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Gio Lopez.
I'm just saying this is it might not be the most important week in ACC football, but it's definitely top 3 week of the whole year for ACC because they've got to prove that they can compete. And if they can compete with these other conferences, including Georgia Tech beating Colorado, that's a big step. It's a big step for ACC on holding their own ground and not getting trampled over. And 4 SEC matchups, and let's be honest, Tennessee's going to beat Syracuse.
They are, but Brent Key is the head coach at Georgia Tech. I bet you didn't know that. He used to be the offensive coach for Alabama.
Yeah.
And don't forget, their quarterback is coming back, and he had an outstanding year or outstanding game against Georgia.
Unfortunately, Florida State fans know that all too well with the Ireland game last year as well. So I can't be reminded of that again.
Now, I hope that Virginia Tech holds a close game to South Carolina. I want that to be a close one.
I don't.
I want it to be exciting.
Hold on. You're about to make me mad in here. What's your love about the ACC all of a sudden?
I want
now, hold on. Time out. Let the record show, Taylor. When you're on here, he wants to talk about, the ACC and the ACC and the ACC. And he's like, look at this, the ACC. But when you're not here, he doesn't say nothing about the ACC. He might say something about Miami. He might give them a breadcrumb here or there. But for the most part, he don't talk good about Florida State. He doesn't talk good about
any. I wouldn't give them a breadcrumb either. But here's the thing, Jeff. I know that LSU, they lost to Florida State in 22 and 23. And now they're having to go to a new ACC opponent in Clemson, who looked absolutely abysmal last year against another SEC opponent. I just wonder what's going to happen because the hype is all around Kay Klubnik. I think there was even a rumor. I hope this isn't true, and hopefully he kind of battles back. But he had an accident, probably in the last week, that may have caused an injury there. So I hope he's all clear. I hope he's all good to go. Definitely praying and thinking about him through that process. But just in reality, though, Brian Kelly's got a lot to live on. So the ACC, while it is important, some of these SEC schools, if Alabama goes down there and loses to Florida State, if LSU goes down there and loses to Clemson,
come on.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. But as far as I don't want to say reasonable, it's within reason to say that Clemson's going to beat LSU because they're favorite and they're at home. Now, the second biggest one is, I think it's reasonable to say that Virginia Tech could beat South Carolina in Atlanta on a Sunday.
No,
I think that's the second biggest upset we could possibly be talking about as far as SEC versus ACC on this week, because there's only 4 of them, and Syracuse has not beaten Tennessee.
Well, that's the thing, too, is even a non-SEC type of ACC matchup, like a NC State versus East Carolina, still a rivalry matchup.
Yeah.
If NC State loses that game early and Dave Doran's kind of on the hot seat after having those 2 rough years back-to-back, you got a quarterback in C.J. Bailey who's supposed to be a really exciting player. Might have been a game Florida State later in the year, might lose because they're having to go on the road, may not be as important anymore. So that's huge for Florida State to see if that happens too.
NC State was the third most, disappointing team of all of last year. NC State. Because Oklahoma State was a huge disappointment. And them going 3-9 was ridiculous. And, of course, Florida State was the worst. Because we had such high hopes for both of those teams that they could get in a conference championship.
Yeah, they're saying Virginia Tech's going to be a formidable team this year because of their quarterback, and they're underrated. So there's a good chance that Virginia Tech can do something. But I'm telling you, Lenoris Sellers is going to shine out there for South Carolina, and they're going to spank Virginia Tech. And I just like almost all the other games. I don't know what LSU is going to do against Clemson, and we're going to discuss that a little bit later, and we're going to do some pick'ems. But when you look at what Gus has done, when you look at what Norvell has done, this year is a big year for them. And bringing in Gus, I believe that was his last thread of hope. And has anybody around the program, not necessarily that's tied to the program, but people around the program, Taylor, talked about the necessity of keeping this Alabama game close because you don't want to start the year off, even though if you do drop one to Alabama, that you don't want to get blown out at home, especially, starting off with this new stadium.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Gus Malzahn is he loves to run the football. If you're able to get 2 straight 3-and-outs, and you're punting the football right back to Alabama, and they're up 14-0 after 2 quick drives, that's something you don't want to see. You want to see those drives continue to expand. You want to see the chains keep moving. You want to see the game get kind of ugly at times. But if you're not able to move the ball and generate early, this offense isn't really built to make a comeback. It's more meant to stabilize itself in the game, pound it to the fourth quarter, see what happens. And that's kind of the philosophy that Norvell and also Malzahn has had when they were actually coaching together at Tulsa. So when you got this kind of like mentor and student type of relationship, when it's a 3rd down and 8, you get 6 yards and you're going to 4th and 2. And Malzahn says, I want to go for it. But Norvell's over here like, no, let's punt it. Let's get let's kick our field goal. That dynamic right there is probably going to be the biggest factor in all of this season, because it's going to be a dynamic that every fan is going to watch, every fan's going to want to see. Even Alabama fans or any other team that plays Florida State this year is going to watch that aspect, because I think it's going to be so important to what Florida State does on the field this year.
It's crazy because Castellanos is so little. And I remember, the quarterback at Auburn that he was small as well, but he could throw. And I haven't really watched Castellanos much. I know he was with Bill O'Brien, but can he make the throws in the pocket? I mean, is he going to be able to? I mean, does he have a good arm? I mean, can he throw the deep ball?
Yes, he can actually throw the deep ball. He's actually thrown it a lot more in this fall camp, which is, they've had a couple interceptions early. There's a couple more jump balls. You want to see like a Deuce Robinson being able to high point the football. I think his biggest weakness, though, is those short to intermediate passes. What is he going to do on a 3rd and 7? Like maybe going on an in route. What is he going to do in those situations? Can he step up in the pocket and make those throws instead of getting happy feet and trying to step out of the pocket and do what he has to do with his legs? I think it's going to be the biggest factor and probably his biggest weakness as a quarterback.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering about. If Alabama can get pressure, obviously the weather, all these factors coming in, the wet ball, all he can do is run. If we can keep his – and you know as well as I do, that's what you do to a Gus Malzahn offense, is that if you can keep it one-dimensional. Obviously he's going to do some flair stuff. He's going to do some stuff out of the backfield. But that offense runs 100% off of that quarterback. And obviously you want to start the year off really good, but man, I believe that's a big deal going into that first game against Alabama, because not starting the year off on a good note, being able to score the football, that's really where I think for me, if I was a Florida State fan, I would be looking at, can we score points on a good Alabama defense? Can we stop Alabama? Get some 3-and-outs, do some stuff like that to make positive things. Even if we lose the game, build the positive things going in, because it's a long season. And this is, college football now is open. You can lose early, you can lose in the middle, and you can lose in the end, but you just can't lose a bunch, because if you do, you'll get kicked out and you won't have an opportunity to play in that playoff. So do you feel like every team wants to make it to the playoff, but a realistic feeling in the program that they are, it's ACC championship or bust this year?
Realistically, I just did my schedule update, prediction by prediction. It's basically the same as what I did earlier in the radio show last week, or it may have been 2 weeks ago when we did it. But just overall, I think 8-4 is about where you're going to see this program. If they beat Miami, everything – that championship hopes are way sky high, because even if you lose to Clemson and you have one loss, that's very optimistic for a program that just went 2-10. You're feeling very confident at that point. So I think it all depends on that little stretch of Virginia, Miami, and then Pittsburgh. That 3-game stretch there can determine so much in the season that Florida State fans and Florida State staff in general and players can have so much confidence in themselves, and the confidence is not what they had last year. I think they can definitely turn around if they string together some wins.
Yeah, one of our listeners wrote that Castellanos can't throw over the offensive lines. He can only throw the deep ball to get it over the action. So you got some people that are doubting Castellanos. I'm sure with his size, he's always had that mantra. So that's been one of those things. But just know that this is not, and I know that somebody wrote this on Facebook, and I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. This is not ACC country. As much as Jeff tries to on Tuesdays to make this an ACC show, this is not an all ACC show. This is just me showing some respect to Taylor and talking about the ACC. So let's don't get it twisted. This is not an ACC show.
Let's just talk about this real quick. Okay. So Miami took 2 losses out of the last 3 games of the regular season.
Right.
All right. There's only 2 teams that can do that in ACC and still make the playoffs. And it's not, it's probably not Miami. It's Clemson, because they opened with LSU and they finished with South Carolina. Right?
Yeah.
So even if they drop those 2 games, obviously they're still in the ACC championship game. And you know how they did it last year. They dropped 3 games
and still got in.
And then still got in because they had the automatic bid. And Florida State opens with a Bama and ends with a Gator. 2 SEC teams. They're bookend by SEC, and they play each other.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that there's only And here's the thing about it. If you're 10-2, you're probably going to be 11-2 because you'll win the conference championship to go to the playoffs, right?
Right.
So we're saying there's only 2 teams in the ACC who can endure 2 losses and still make the playoffs, because the Hurricanes got locked out last year at 10-2.
Yeah.
And I know they're opening with Notre Dame. I get that. It's going to be a tough battle because who they lost to also hurt them last year. Losing to Syracuse in the last week of the season was just awful. I mean, they were so hyped up that they could make the playoffs, and then it just got ripped out right from underneath them.
Yeah, and that's the key. And when you look at it, you got the front and the back having the good games against the SEC schools. If you were to split those games, obviously the end game being the game you want to win more than you do, just because that would make it to where you would have an impressive win right there in front of the committee before they start making the picks.
And you know what? It sounds weird, but Clemson almost wants South Carolina to have 8 or 9 wins, because then it was quality win.
Right.
And where that's so weird because that's their in-state rival. And then the same thing with the Seminoles and the Gators. They don't want them. They want them to be 5-7. They do. Yeah. But when it comes to quality wins, you kind of want them to strengthen up your schedule and not make it all weak.
Yeah.
And it has happened in the past.
I did have a question for y'all too, because you look at Miami and their excitement they have going into the season for Notre Dame. It's a huge season opener for them. They have a new squad. They have a new transfer quarterback, kind of like Florida State has now. Do you think that they have more buy one, get one free deals at their Hard Rock Stadium this year because they have to generate some type of excitement for that disappointment of a program?
Wow.
Oh, wow. You know what? We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to see all of the Facebook hate that Taylor's about to receive. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Reach out and smack someone. Call or text now. 850-215-6290. The Red 17 studio line.
Your attention, please.
ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Mostly clear tonight with a wind coming out of the north around 9 miles per hour and a low of 72. Tomorrow morning, look for a gentle breeze and sunshine with a temperature near 84. The afternoon and evening, a high around 89 and sunshine. Thursday, hot with a high of 89 and sunshine. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
When it comes to building smart and roofing right, TK Vandy's is the name you can trust. They're your go-to for general contracting, design, build solutions, and top quality roofing. From concept to completion, they deliver excellence on time and on budget. Whether it's a custom build or a complex renovation, they've got you covered, literally. Call TK Vandy today and build something better together. TK Vandy, built with purpose, roofed with pride.
You've found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. If you have a problem with our hot takes, call us and say it to our face.
10 years from now, I'll be making a difference in this world while you'll be sitting there getting your diaper changed by your nurse.
The Sports Blitz is on the air. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yes, sir. We are back here at the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget to call in, to text in the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. Just another announcement. Just make sure that you go in, you text the keyword Jacksonville to the Red 7T's phone line so you can win those pair of tickets. We'll announce it on Tuesday, September the 2nd right here on the Sports Blitz. There's people have already sent their numbers in, so just go ahead and get your name added to the list, and you never know who's going to get the drawing. We'll probably draw that baby right here. We might do the old school, draw it out of a bucket. I'm excited about it.
Well, we're going to announce it on the 2nd, which is Tuesday.
Yeah.
So there's chances to do it again. Yeah, and you can even misspell Jacksonville.
If you misspell Jacksonville, I don't know if you're going to get qualified. You better learn how to spell Jacksonville for sure. Let me run through some of our sponsors. We're so thankful for them. This is the reason why we can do what we do and have a great time doing it. Recommended Collision Center right there on Jinx Avenue. Man, if you need your shine back to your vehicle, go over there and see those guys. They know what they're doing. The painting is exquisite, and the fitment. A lot of people don't realize it, but the fitment of new parts is a big deal. You can't just throw it on there and do a couple of screws and it just goes back in there. It's not the real deal. It's like a puzzle. You got to get it done right. And if you want it done right, go to Recommended Collision Center. They'll get you fixed up. Also, if you're wanting to sell your vehicle, maybe you've got an extra one that you're wanting to get rid of, why don't you go over there to AutoNation Ford in Panama City? They'll give your vehicle an inspection. They'll look at it, and they'll give you the best deal to get you the best money for your product. Also, if you're in the business of buying a new car or a used car, go see those guys too. They'll take great care of you. And for both of those sponsors, tell them Paul Wilson from the Sports Blitz sent you, and I'm sure they will look after you and give you a good deal. Also, week 0 snacks are done. Now it's time for the full spread. This Labor Day weekend is stacked with college football you can't miss. And the Hard Rock Bet is Florida's only legal way to get in the game. Download now and let's get this party rolling. Offered by Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. You know, before we went to the break, Taylor from Chop Chat, we're still on the line with him. He made some disparaging comments about the Miami Hurricanes and the fans at the Hard Rock Station. And absolutely, we definitely got some things going on. The disappointment of a program has owned the Noles and the Gators since time has began. Learn football was one person said. And let's see, let's read another one real quick. I love the fill the stadium jargon when your Doak Campbell field looks like the beaches on Panama City Beach. So there you go, Taylor. Some good old...
Does that mean there's holes in it?
I don't know.
I guess like the sand?
The sand, yeah, sandy. Yeah, probably just sandy. But when you look at the stands at Miami, it hasn't been impressive.
Well, they haven't won an ACC championship. They're 0-1 in this ACC championship, and they've been in there,
20 years.
24 years? Well, when they joined, 2002 or 3? It's been a little minute.
2002.
2002?
Right.
Yeah.
So they won 2000 in the national championship, and they lost 2001 to Ohio State because it was given to Ohio State. They should have won back-to-back.
Yeah.
There's some bad calls in that, both ways, but most of them were against Miami on that one.
For sure.
And you know what? I don't want to say I didn't care, but I was kind of cheering against the Hurricanes at the time. I just didn't like the way that their swagger was.
Against Ohio State?
No, against anybody. Hurricanes just had that swagger. It was nasty. And they just, they were, I don't want to say they were overconfident because let me tell you, you look at that roster and you're like, oh my goodness, these guys are studs. And I had no idea how good Ray Lewis was when he was in college. And then when he got to the pros, I was like, oh my God, that guy's the real deal right there. He's a one-man wrecking machine.
Yeah, and I agree with one of our fans here that says that if you win, they will come. So just the way you put people in seats is you win the football games, and that's true for everybody.
And how can you go from 9-0 last year to 10-2? I mean, the Hurricanes blew it at the end.
Yeah, they did.
And we'd be talking about them differently if they just beat Syracuse.
Yeah, if they would have beat a Kyle McCord-led Syracuse.
Who got cut
yesterday from the Philadelphia Eagles, who was a former Ohio State quarterback, but that's what happens. That's what happens. When you are an Ohio State quarterback and you try to go to the NFL, you get cut most of the time. They only got one going right now, C.J. Stroud, and who knows what kind of year he's going to have. But anyway, let's get back to this ACC football. Now, Taylor, we've got some big games coming up that's not necessarily ACC, but we want to go through them a little bit with you and kind of get your idea of what you think. Now, as far as obviously you're being a Florida State fan, who do you think has the biggest game in the ACC this weekend coming up? Do you think that, because we got the list here, do you think the Clemson-LSU game, Miami-Notre Dame, do you think it's Vatech in South Carolina? Do you think it's UNC and against Jeff's big bad TCU? Is it Syracuse and Tennessee, or is it Georgia Tech and Colorado? What do you think?
Personally, I think it's going to be the Miami game. I think you got to start off hot, because if you don't, you end up losing to Florida later in the month. That could definitely be a kind of quit factor with Miami, and we've seen it before. They lose early in the year, they quit. You don't want to have that quit aspect, especially when you have a Carson Beck who you're relying on to navigate through this offense. I think Carson Beck's a pretty good quarterback. I think he can be serviceable for this offense. But if they lose early and you're starting to lose that fan interaction with the team, all dislike aside for Miami, I think this is a game you have to win, because while Mario Cristobal's a great recruiter, on the field it's not been a fantastic product. Even last year, when you were talking about before, Jeff, where they started the season so great, blew it at the end. You cannot have that this year. I think they have a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, I think, don't get me wrong when I say this, I think Cam Ward is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good guy. I think he really tries to perfect his craft as being a quarterback. I think he's a no-nonsense kind of guy. I love that aspect about him. But I think the arm talent that Carson Beck has, as far as what I've been told from people that are there watching and around the program, he can put the ball on you. And that's what the big arms in college football has done in the past. And so this team, obviously losing Cam Ward, the #1 draft pick, I don't want to get anybody sideways on that. But, man, I think Carson Beck could be that guy this year that if they give him a little bit of time, if his wide receivers are any good, again, I haven't done a lot of depth, on their wide receivers or what they've got offensively, but I do believe in him. I do believe he's played a lot of football. He's played in a lot of big games, and I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but I think there's a chance, there's a big chance, Carson Beck, if he has the kind of year that he's capable of having, there's a possibility that we're talking about at the end of the year, Heisman candidate and possibility 1 or 2 quarterback taken in the NFL draft.
And see, I actually think that's probably Kay Klubnik. I think Klubnik is that good.
See, I don't know.
I am huge on Klubnik. And personally, if you want to be really honest with you, I think Georgia Tech is going to place Clemson in the ACC championship and only have one loss.
Wow. Wow.
I think they are that good. I think Haynes King can definitely be able to swing it across the yard. I think this is the team that avoids most teams in their schedule. I mean, yes, they play Colorado, so obviously that's going to be a big game that people are going to watch for. And if they lose that, you know, they're basically behind the 8 ball in terms of my prediction. But overall, though, I mean, that team is really loaded with a lot of talent. Obviously, they play Clemson, but they play them at home. You know, they play Colorado on the road, but it's not that daunting of a task in terms of what it could be. You're not having to play Shadir Sanders and also Travis Hunter. So be sure to raffle for that Jacksonville ticket because you're going to see him over there. You're not going to see him in Colorado. So you're going to have to figure out what is going to be with that. And I just think it's a big factor for them. It's a big year for Brent Key. So.
Yeah, I 100% disagree with you. I think Cade Klubnik is as good as he's ever going to be. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback. I don't think he's going to do anything in the NFL for sure. I think whoever drafts him is going to get a miniature version of Trevor Lawrence. I think they're going to try to run him a lot like they did with Trevor Lawrence in college, and I think they're going to do a lot more of that. Last year, just going off last year, watching him miss so many guys that were open, seeing him underthrow the ball, seeing him overthrow the ball, seeing him make bad decisions. I don't think the guy's got it. I don't think I get it. He's going to be his last year there. Dabo's talking great about him, all of this stuff. But I'm telling you, Cade Klubnik to me is nothing more than a miniature version of Trevor Lawrence that can just run the ball, and you better not make him throw much because realistically, he beat out DJ Uiagalelei, and he didn't really beat him out. He just kind of like DJ stunk it up so bad that they had no choice but to put Cade in there, and I just don't think he's that good.
I definitely think that he has potential to be solid. Not to say that he is a can't-miss talent, because I do think some NFL teams underestimate what it is in terms of selecting quarterbacks. Let's look at Anthony Richardson, for example. He is a walking injury tent. Much like DJ Lagway, if you want to be honest. I mean, they're from the same cloth, same university. Anyway.
Here we go.
But here's the thing, though. Cade Klubnik had 36 touchdowns last year and only 6 interceptions. Yes, he had that opening game last year that was a very, very disappointing performance. But he ended up having, you know, in an SMU ACC championship game, he had 4 touchdowns. You know, he was able to navigate that through. Not to say he had a great game against Florida State, because he really didn't. I mean, Florida State was competitive in that game throughout, even with the lack of offensive weapons they had. But realistically, when you're looking at some of these teams that he played last year, I mean, he had a couple of high 200-yard games and even a couple of 300-yard games. Not to say the ACC is a can't-miss league, but I do think that this is a league and basically a quarterback that can be able to make definitely some NFL impressions.
I think he can run a little bit and play, but if you're going to tell me, Taylor, if you're going to give me some statistics, if you're going to tell me things about somebody that you think is good, you can't tell me playing against the 28th ranked defense at SMU just because they're in the ACC championship that Cade Klubnik is good. So I'm going to pass on Cade Klubnik.
All right, so Paul, we gotta pick our teams.
Yeah, we do.
So here I go. You're going to be last, okay?
All right, I'll be last.
All right. I got Clemson in the ACC championship. They're going to beat Louisville. Louisville is here's the thing about the Miami Hurricanes. They're going to lose to Louisville at home in Miami, and then they're going to have a tough game at SMU. But what Miami has luxury of not doing is they don't have to play Clemson regular season.
Yeah.
So I'm counting out Miami with 2 ACC losses.
To who?
To Louisville and SMU, because they're playing at SMU. So they're going to go 6-2 again in the ACC, and they're going to finish 9-3 on the year, and then that's going to put Louisville as the second team in the ACC championship, and Miller Moss will be the second best quarterback in the conference, and Cade Klubnik will not be in the top 2.
Who's going to be the best quarterback in the ACC?
Georgia Tech.
Haynes
King, yeah.
Okay.
Haynes King, yeah.
All right. All right.
I can side with that prediction.
What do you think? What do you think about that? And tell us yours.
Well, he already said he's got Georgia Tech losing to Clemson, right?
Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech and Clemson.
Yep.
So now it's your turn, Paul.
I
Put
think
chips down.
You know what? Because Miami is not going to play Clemson in the regular season, and Clemson has got the cupcake schedule. You better believe Clemson's going to play in the ACC championship, but they're going to play against the Miami Hurricanes. And the reason why they're going to play against the Miami Hurricanes is because because Carson Beck is going to have the year that he can have, because he's not going to be playing against the tough SEC defenses, and he's probably going to hammer it this year. He's probably going to have 1 million stats. He's going to be a stat king the whole time while he's in this good old ACC. So give me Clemson, Miami in the ACC championship. Give me Carson Beck, ACC Player of the Year. Oh yeah.
Goodness.
I'm all in on him. His injury's fine. His arm's good. He's got arm talent. He's going to lead them Hurricanes. People are going to say the Hurricanes are back, but they're going to say that all the way to the ACC championship until Clemson destroys them and beats them and then knocks them out of the opportunity. They're not going to get two teams in the playoff.
I hope Hurricane Chris is still listening.
Yeah, he'll probably send me a couple Cokes up here.
Yeah. You tell me about it.
But anyway, so that's our pick for the ACC. When we come back, we're going to go through this week's football games. We're going to pick them. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Red 70s studio line is now open. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your college football headquarters for the biggest and best games of the week.
It's a touchdown!
Huge rivalries and your favorite teams in the SEC, ACC, and beyond.
It's a miracle!
The Gators, Hurricanes, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, and Notre Dame play here.
Unbelievable!
The Gulf Coast headquarters for college football is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
In a world full of noise, one name cuts through it all.
Amplify AI.
We help HVAC, plumbing, and home service pros get found fast. More leads, more calls, more results. This ain't just marketing. It's AI-powered performance.
Amplify AI.
Hear the roar.
Call Lee at 850-299-1269. Amplify AI.
That bear ain't just for show.
Looking for the most romantic night out in Panama City? Ferrucci Ristorante is your destination for authentic Italian cuisine and unforgettable moments. The candlelight, the wine, the homemade pasta. It's like a little slice of Italy. From handcrafted sauces to centuries-old recipes, Ferrucci brings true Italian flavor to every plate. It's where love stories begin and anniversaries are celebrated. To reserve your table, call 850-913-9131. Ferrucci Ristorante, Panama City's most romantic escape.
Are you feeling tired, weak, or maybe you feel old and cranky? If so, I have the answer. It's Max Fit Sports Nutrition with 2 locations, 23rd Street in the Coronado Plaza and in Pier Park North on Back Beach Road. Max Fit Sports Nutrition has nutritional products and professional dietary plans to get you moving in the right direction. So get off that couch and get to Max Fit Sports Nutrition now. Max Fit Sports Nutrition, where you can try it before you buy it.
If you build it, they will come. We're live from the CBC Construction Studios. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Master, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Sports Blitz.
That's right. It's 5:45 here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. That means one thing and one thing only. We got 15 minutes left. We're going to do some pick'ems here. We're going to see what we think. If you want to comment, like, share, all of these things on Facebook, YouTube, go on the app, do whatever you got to do. That would be great. We appreciate it. Now, these guys, they kind of been teaming up and kind of ganging up on me today. So I'm over here fighting for my life against these ACC lovers. Taylor Devers from Chop Chat, he's on the line. Jeff, I'm going to start calling him on Tuesdays, ACC Jeff, because golly, everything about ACC, And you know what, Jeff? I'm going to have to buy you some readers, man. It looks like you're going to have to go ahead and bite the bullet and get you some readers, man. Every time I see you looking at your phone, you got it all the way up to your eyes. I see you looking at paper, you always up to your eyes. When you're writing just now, you got them up to your eyes. Taylor, if you ever come to Panama City Beach and you want to get something, get Jeff a pair of them ACC conference readers. He needs a pair because he's having struggle up here looking at these games that we're about to do.
Hope it's not garnet red.
Oh, gross. Yeah, come on now.
Well, I mean, gold's worse, I guess.
Yeah. Well, here we go. All right. So let's start from the top. Let's just go ahead and go from the top. Taylor, you go first, and then Jeff, and then I'll pull in the rear on this one. Number 1, Texas visits number 3, Ohio State. What do you have that game going as, Taylor?
I have Ohio State winning that ball game.
All right.
I'm going to go Texas. I'm going to go Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going Texas, and let me tell you why. So, in 20 years, the last 20 years, quarterbacks starting their first start of their career against the number 1 team in the country, they're 0-18. Julian Sayin is starting against the number 1 team in the country, and for the last 20 years, they're 0-18.
Wow.
So there you go. I'm going to go with statistics.
But, people say that Sarkisian has never done anything.
We'll see.
Well, he did win a playoff game last year. That's the only thing he's done.
Well, they're number 1. They're number 1. They've never been number 1.
That's ranking.
They've never been ranked number 1. So there you go. He's done something.
No. They've never been ranked number 1 entering the season.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
We haven't started the season yet.
Yeah, but this is all judgment.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Okay.
Number 6, Notre Dame versus number 10, Miami. Taylor, what you got?
Short and sweet, Notre Dame.
All right, Jeff.
Notre Dame.
All right. Well, guys, you know what? As much as I felt like I should pick Notre Dame, I don't believe the first-year starter, C.J. Carr, is going to do that well. I think give me the Miami Hurricanes for the upset of the weekend. All right, here we go. Number 9, LSU. Number 4, Clemson. What say you, Taylor?
I will say this. Garrett Nussmeier has actually got the new number 18 awarded to him. Means a lot to the LSU tradition out there. He's done a tremendous job with that program. But unfortunately, I don't think it's enough to beat Clemson on the road. If it was at LSU, I would have a different tone. But unfortunately, I think Clemson is actually going to be able to win this matchup. I'm sorry, Jeff.
All right.
No, it's nothing to be sorry about. It's a tough road opponent. I'll tell you this much. On College Football Report, which I guess is like a Twitter thing, they were picking every conference, and I'm talking about not just the Power 4, but the group of 5, and there was only one team that got all 10 votes, and it was Clemson. Clemson was the only one that got a sweep as far as like their 10 pickers picked to win their conference. So much respect to Clemson. I'm going to pick Clemson. It breaks my heart, and it also makes me worried about my friends who are LSU fans because, they're going to say, hey, you didn't believe in us. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Clemson, and I'm not going to fall behind in week 1 to you guys. And I'm not trying to just keep it. I think Clemson's going to win this, and it's at Clemson. So
yeah, I think, when you look at LSU and you look at Clemson, I'll say this: give me the Tigers. That's who I
Yeah, easy.
No, but I'm not a big fan of Garrett Nussmeier. I don't think he's going to be that good. I think Clemson's defense is going to be better this year than it was last year. I think they're going to have more experience. Again, not a big Cabe Klubnik guy, but I believe they'll be able to get it done. Give me Clemson over LSU. Now we move to number 8, Alabama, going against the Garnet FSU. Taylor, what you got?
Now I got a question for you. Lee Corso is having his last head game appearance on College game day. Unfortunately, he didn't go to Tallahassee. So we're stuck with, Brian McFadden and Danny Cannell doing the ACC Network show over there. But in honor of him, because he is able to go to Florida State, he wasn't getting publicized enough by ESPN with his last headgear pick. Not so fast, sweetheart, because Florida State is going to win this ball game.
Okay. All right, Jeff, what you got? Bama. Obviously, I don't care if Danny Cannell, Johnny Cannell, or Philip Cannell is there. Alabama by 50. Let's go, Bama.
No, I got them by 18. But I'm surprised that the spread did not move from 13.5.
Yeah, it's still at 13.5. It's because of the weather. That's what it is.
You think?
Yeah.
The weather votes?
Yeah.
I mean, they bet?
Based off the weather. It's definitely the weather. A lot of the fans are talking Ohio State. Some people have picked Ohio State. Some people picked Clemson. Bama, huge. Somebody got really upset at me for picking against Notre Dame. Sorry about that, Mr. Wilson. We got Virginia Tech and South Carolina at South Carolina. What do you think on that one, Taylor? We talked about Virginia Tech. Supposed to be pretty good this year. What do you think?
Yeah, personally, I don't love Lenore Sellers. I think he's a bit overrated. I think their over-under win totals at like 7.5. That's a tough place to play at South Carolina. I don't think Kyron Drones and Virginia Tech has enough horsepower to keep up with South Carolina. I'm going to go with South Carolina because of Nicholas Harbor.
All right. What you got, Jeff?
Beamer ball, South Carolina.
Yeah. Yes, give me the Gamecocks. I think they're going to trounce Virginia Tech. I think they're going to put Daddy. I think they're going to put Daddy Beamer out of business up there in South Carolina.
Trounce.
Here we go.
How bad are we talking?
I'm saying
20
by 2 to 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I'd say 3. I'd say 17-21. 17-21 points spread on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they'll definitely cover the spread. Auburn versus Baylor. That's a good one. Where are you at on that one, Taylor?
Well, Baylor's starting running back is out for the season. Huge update for Auburn and their defense and trying to keep up with Hugh Freeze and trying to keep his job security high at Auburn. I definitely think Jackson Arnold is going to get a pivotal win on the road in Waco, Texas, and they're going to get the job done.
All right. What do you think about that, Jeffrey?
This is a tough one. This is maybe the toughest one of the 10 that we have. I'm going to go with Auburn.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with Auburn as well. I think Auburn will be able to move the ball. Jackson Arnold's played some football in some high-level games, so give me Auburn. I think they're going to do fine.
Did you know this is the second closest spread, too, of the 10 games?
Yeah, that one's quick.
Ohio State's only a 2-point favorite. This one's 2.5.
Yeah, so is the Notre Dame and Miami game. They're 2.5 as well.
Yeah, they're 2.5, yeah.
All right, TCU. This is the game of the week. UNC and TCU based off of Jeff's pick.
No,
Bill Belichick led UNC. What do you think, Taylor?
This is kind of sneaky to me because I think this is all eyes on Belichick. This is going to be a huge attention game here. I think it's going to be closer than the experts think. I think UNC is going to pull this out by a field goal, but I wouldn't be surprised if TCU comes up and upsets them early on in week 1.
All right. What you think, Jeffrey?
TCU.
TCU's got them. I think go ahead and go with the old ball coaching up there. Give me Bill Belichick and Gio Lopez. Got enough starts to play there at home. I think they'll get them. Syracuse against Tennessee. This is probably the biggest gap. What you going with on that, Taylor?
I'm definitely going to have to go with Tennessee. Even though it's not in Knoxville, I do think this is going to be a Tennessee team that's motivated with Joey Aguilar, and I think he's a good quarterback that's good enough to keep the job done. I think Syracuse doesn't have enough horsepower to keep up.
What do you think?
I think it's going to be the biggest of all these games as far as like spread to win. I think Tennessee's going to win by 28.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a blowout myself. I think Tennessee's going to get them. Georgia Tech and Colorado. What do y'all think about that one? Taylor, where are you going on that one?
Well, the spread is looking at like 4.5, 4 right now. I even put in a bet earlier this week, and I increased the spread points. So I actually have Georgia Tech minus 7.5. I think I'm that confident in what Georgia Tech is going to do in this game.
Yeah, what do you think about that one, Jeff?
I got Georgia Tech at they're going to win. ESPN had the spread at 5 today, this morning. So I'm going with Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think Georgia Tech's going to beat them bad and really bad. I think it's going to be. I think they're going to run off from them. early, I think it's going to be. You're going to see the second-string quarterback coming in the fourth quarter for Georgia Tech. Here we go, Nebraska and Cincinnati. We threw this one in there. This is number 10.
10th biggest game of the week.
10th biggest game of the week per Jeff, LSU, ACC Jeff. But go ahead. What do you think, Taylor?
Well, Nebraska doesn't really have a great offense this year. It's a little scary with Raiola, as well as some other pieces there. I'm actually going to go closer than the experts think. I'm going to give Nebraska by a field goal in this one. Doesn't make me feel super comfortable in this one.
Yeah, what do you think, Jeff?
I think Taylor's right on. I think Nebraska by 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will do right.
But they won't beat the spread.
Matt Rule is going to do better this year with Nebraska. I think with their quarterback, they'll have a little bit more of familiarity about the college game coming in last year as a true freshman playing. I think he'll do better this year. He's probably going to get a haircut because Patrick Mahomes got a haircut, so he always tries to look like Patrick Mahomes. He's probably Patrick Mahomes, mini-me.
I'd like to see what the over-under is on that one, on the Nebraska-Cincinnati, because it'll be one of the lowest scoring games.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 52.5 the last time I looked at it.
Really?
I don't know what it is now.
Oh, goodness. I'm not telling people bet on the under on that one, but, you heard me.
You heard me. Well, and that's the thing. Like, this weekend is going to be crazy. I know some of y'all, some of the picks that I've been seeing on Facebook that some people have put on, it looks like a lot of people, you can see there's some people like the Miami fan, Chris. He is a big ACC supporter. He's got definitely TCU over UNC. He's got Baylor over Auburn. He also says that Virginia Tech is going to upset South Carolina, so there you go. I don't see the ACC being very strong this year. I think they're going to be about what they always have been, which is they're going to have one good team and the other ones, they're okay. I think that with Bill Belichick there, Carson Beck there, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Taylor, we won't see you or talk to you until Tuesday of next week, but I just want you to know that if you want to shed that Garnet shirt, if you want me to send you an Alabama shirt before you get there, just so you can take it in your clear backpack to Doak Campbell Stadium, just so you know, there's room for you on the Alabama Crimson Tide bandwagon. If you want to come on over, you can, because Alabama's going to roll, and they're going to roll quite often against the Florida State Seminoles. You've been listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. We will see you tomorrow. We're going to talk a lot about the other stuff. See you tomorrow, guys.
You're home for college football. ESPN Northwest Florida.
College football kicks off this Friday with Auburn at Baylor. We'll have coverage starting at 6. Then Saturday, Syracuse at Tennessee kicks off at 11, followed by LSU at Clemson at 6:30. And more college football on Sunday.